about the elephant in the room, but Walking Dead obviously is one of the biggest things that ever hit television. It's I know I watched through the first 5 seasons, and it was a movie every week. It felt like I was watching a freaking movie, and that's how I'd explain it. I'd say it's like, I love horror. I'm a huge horror fan, as everyone knows. And I go, I'd be a zombie for a day. I remember even I actually read for something in it a while back, but I remember I just love that show. And when your character, I will tell you this, there's a couple of characters on the show. They're all really good actors. But when your character came on, there was something just, I could just smell your character. There's something just real about him, just really grounded and got a little dirt, a little dirty. And I don't know. I just really love, and I know a lot of people loved Abraham. And
Yeah.
it was such a great character to watch. And did you, first of all, when you got this, did they say, hey, this is just for a recurring? And then all of a sudden this thing blew up and you're like, holy shit, I just lasted a couple seasons here. How many seasons did you do? 4?
Came in the middle of 4, season 4, and then did all of 5, all of 6, and then the beginning, the end of 7.
Right.
So, in Walking Dead math, that's actually 3.5 seasons, because even when, there was 20, when I was there's 22 regulars over 16 episodes. You would do maybe 5 or 6 episodes some years. So my first year when I did 4, even though I was guesting, that's basically just shy of what some people were doing for a season that were working season. So, I was told when I met with Scott Gimple, I was told that they were trying to get back closer to the comics, because they'd gone really far in season 3, I guess, and with killing off some major players who were actually still alive up until recently in the comics. And so the idea and the feel of it and everything behind it was that they wanted to get back to the comics. But I knew in the comics, after doing the research on that he only was around for 20 or 30 publications. I used to know the numbers. He came in like I forget what it was, but I feel like he was in at 30 something and died at 90 something.
Wow, you read all of those. You actually read all of them.
I did. I read up until his
reading,
until his passing, and then a little beyond, because I got really sucked into it. And so I knew it was great, and there was a bunch that had changed from the graphic novels to the show. It's interesting that the Daryl character changed how a lot of the other characters were dealt with, because what Kirkman had done in the graphic novel was he would bring in characters who would become confidants with Rick, and sort of like his new best friend. Not to sort of trivialize that, his writing, but that's the mechanism they served. Someone who would get close to him, and we could learn more about him through the people that he met. And it was the same thing with Tyrese. When he met Tyrese, he very, very close, shared a lot, and through the sharing, you learned a lot about him. And then he got killed off, and then my character comes in. So having the Daryl character there, who is his true best friend and confidant the whole time, changed the dynamic of how those characters, when they did come in, how they functioned in the world. So I knew that my time would be sort of similar to what was in the comic, and it didn't really matter, if the fans loved it or hated it. Kirkman had said early on, the way that we show that this world is a dangerous world is we kill people we love. So, I knew that I wasn't,
when did they tell you, Michael?
It wasn't Rick. It wasn't Daryl. It wasn't.
Well,
Glenn.
when did they tell you? When did they didn't do a pull? I interviewed this guy, Chris Jericho, a big wrestler, and he said that he knew that he was going to win the championship that day. They told him. So did they give you like a week ahead? They go, hey, did they call you? What was the real scoop?
I got a call when I was in New York. I think it was a break between when we shoot our seasons in 2 parts, the first part and the second part, and there's a week break in between. It's sort of the hottest time in Georgia. The crew has already gone through 8 episodes. everybody's just dead. It's brutal. It's August, and so we take a week, 2 weeks off uh, in August, and then we come back and finish the rest of the season. And during that time, I ran out to New York, and I get a phone call from Scott. He's like, "Hey," he leaves me a message. "Hey,
You're dead.
I take back." The AD called. The AD called.
Oh.
Matt Goodwin called. He's like, "Hey, Scott wants to set up a call with you for next week."
Oh,
I said,
boy.
"Okay."
Did you say
You know
why? I would have been like, why? What do you
No,
know?
I was like, "Do you know what it's about?" He's like, "No, no, no. It's just a, second. It's sort of like where everything's headed. Blah blah blah." Call. Okay. All right. Sure. Next Wednesday, 2 o'clock. Sounds great. So then I immediately call Scott. I'm like, "Hey, call me back." She calls me like, "Hey, what's going on?" I go, you can't do that. You can't be like, "Oh, hey." I said, "If you're going to kill me, kill me. I want to know. I don't want to be wondering. Like, I'd rather start processing me being dead now than wonder if I'm going to be dead for another week and a half and then have to process it." I said, "It doesn't matter. You're already, like, I already assume I'm dead. So either confirm or deny." And he said, "Well," I said, "Okay, so yeah, so I'm dead." "Well, no, I mean, I don't." I go, "Yes, it's okay." So we talked about this when I first came in. I wasn't upset per se. I wasn't happy to leave the show. I would have liked to have continued if that was in the cards. But I wasn't really bummed out about it because I knew it was coming. So ultimately, I wish we had done a few more episodes with myself and Sonequa when All Out War happened, because it would have been nice to actually see Abraham functioning as a soldier. But that wasn't in the cards, and that's we have to make room for characters we love die, so new characters can come in that we can fall in love with.